What is going on, everybody? It is Handles, and Joel Embiid is known across the NBA for his social media antics. He's a funny guy, no doubt, but he's also known as something else, and that's the process. Joel Embiid didn't get to live the high life like most NBA players. In fact, he's from Cameroon, which is a third world country in Africa, and never even touched a basketball until 2010. He's only played basketball for 7 years, and now he's in the NBA. Anyways, here's the amazing story of Joel Embiid. Embiid was born on March 16, 1994 in Yaoundé, Cameroon. His father was a military officer there, and Embiid generally had a good life. He excelled academically and was a standout midfielder on his soccer club and was dominant on the volleyball court. Thomas and Christine Embiid kept a close eye on Joel, never letting him outside for anything unless it was for school or athletics. Joel's father said he never lacked anything. He always had food on the table and plenty of clothes. The school system was fine. He was never in any trouble. It was a good environment, a good situation. In only a matter of months, after turning 15, Joel's life would change drastically. There was never really much media coverage of the NBA in Cameroon, but it was the finals during this time. So they decided to play a clip of Kobe Bryant facing the Celtics in the NBA finals. And Joel saw this. He knew what basketball was, but he nor his friends ever really tried playing it. But Joel was motivated by this clip, so he decided to pick up one of his volleyballs and shoot it up at the rim at his local high school. And this really sparked an interest with Joel in basketball. He decided to pick up a basketball as a side thing with his friends, playing a little pickup here and there after volleyball games and practices. Basketball at this moment for Joel still wasn't very serious, as he was putting most of his focus on volleyball. But in July of 2011, Joel Embiid, an NBA player who's also from Cameroon, decided to host a camp there. And Joel was embarrassed to even try going because he's still never been coached, he's never been on any team, and still doesn't even know the rules properly. But his volleyball coach knew of Joel's interest in basketball, so he decided to just register him anyway, forcing Joel to attend the camp. Although with Joel still being very awkward with a basketball, it didn't even take a second for Joel Embiid to notice a 6'9", 16-year-old who may have potential in the sport. And his footwork and running ability he gained from soccer, and his aggression on the volleyball court proved to make Joel a standout at the camp. And after the final day, Joel Embiid tapped on Joel's shoulder as he was one of the top 5 performers in the camp and invited him to play in the Basketball Without Borders camp, which is the NBA's program to reach out talent from worldwide. Even though Joel was still very inexperienced, he held his own at the camp and was really pursuing basketball. And after his father repeatedly would not give him his blessing to play, since he wanted him to play volleyball in Europe, he decided to give in and gave Joel his blessing to pursue a basketball career. Joel got an opportunity to attend Montverde Academy in Florida, which is the same high school Joel Embiid went to. But before leaving for the airport for the US, Joel and his family gathered around and just hugged each other, crying, not knowing when he'd see his family again. As Joel reached Montverde, and in his very first practice, he was still very awkward. He was bouncing the ball off his foot, and his teammates would repeatedly laugh at him. Kevin Boyle, his coach, told Joel to leave the gym and grab water. He then gathered his players to the middle of the court and told them, laugh all you want, but in 5 years, you're going to be asking him for a loan because he's going to be worth about $50 million. And after a few months, Joel had improved drastically, and so had his English thanks to a few of his teammates who are also native to Cameroon. But each day at practice, Joel and a teammate, Dakari Johnson, who was a high school star, would nearly fight in all of them. They would elbow each other, fight for position, and then nearly spark a fight until their teammates and coach would have to break up both of them. Boyle said that Joel is a happy kid. He's really outgoing, but on the court he wouldn't back down from no one. But sadly, Embiid spent most of the season on the junior varsity squad, but he was still making big improvements every day. And his improvement came from trying to mimic the moves of Hakeem Olajuwon, since his coach made him repeatedly watch a tape of Hakeem performing post moves, and it ultimately helped Embiid improve a lot, because by the end of the season, he earned a spot on the varsity squad, and saw a few minutes in a loss against Finlay Prep. Embiid, however, decided to transfer to the Rock School, because the entire time at Montverde, Joel saw little to no minutes. And it paid off. Joel was on the starting lineup of his school and led his team to a 33-4 record, while averaging 13 points, 9.7 rebounds, and 1.9 blocks per game. He was now a 5-star recruit and ranked number 1 from all centers in the class of 2013. And Kansas took notice of Joel's talent and decided to offer him a full scholarship to the school. Joel committed to Kansas, and in a 20-minute scrimmage game where the Kansas players got to go out and play in front of a crowd, Kansas coach Self told his team to have fun. and show their personality. Joel took his words and decided to throw up ill-advised shots and perform behind the back moves and fancy passes. After the scrimmage, Coach Self went to Embiid and just exploded, yelling at him, telling him that he doesn't even know if he can coach him and that he should just go back to Cameroon. And Embiid didn't take this lightly. The very next day, he was at Allen Fieldhouse just putting up shots. When assistant coach Roberts called him to see where he was, Embiid didn't sound like he was okay. So Roberts went to Embiid and Joel told him everything about how Coach Self wasn't happy with him. And Roberts told Embiid that he's just hard on you because he knows you'll be great. And with those words, Joel was fine and went on a tear in his first season as a freshman. He played in 28 games, averaging 11.2 points, 8.1 rebounds, 1.4 assists, and 2.6 blocks in only 23 minutes per game. He was even averaging higher than 62% from the field. But before Embiid can play in the NCAA tournament, he went out with a stress fracture in his back. He was expected to return if Kansas could go deep into the tournament, but they were eliminated in the third round. With his amazing season, Joel was a possible #1 pick in the 2014 NBA draft. But during a pre-draft workout, he broke his navicular bone in his right foot and was ruled out for the 2013-2014 NBA season. That injury may have impacted his draft stock, but his Philadelphia 76ers decided to take a chance and drafted Embiid with the 3rd overall pick.
With the 3rd pick in the 2014 NBA draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Joel Embiid from Yaoundé, Cameroon, and the University of Kansas.
And then only a few months later, tragedy struck. October 16th, 2014, Joel's younger brother died in a car crash at the age of 13. Embiid hadn't even seen his younger brother for 4 years and was hoping to see him again in the NBA offseason. But sadly, that chance never came. I can't imagine what it's like to go through losing your younger brother, and this was a hard time for Embiid. But he used this as motivation to push through his injury and work hard in rehab. And in the very next season, he was ruled out again because a CT scan revealed less healing than they anticipated. This must have been hard for Embiid, being ruled out 2 entire seasons without even a chance to play, especially when your younger brother passes away and the fact that you have a huge competitive spirit. But he didn't take this time without giving the 76er fans without entertainment. He was often seen on Twitter and Instagram showing off his personality with different jokes and antics, and this made 76er fans love him. And finally, in the 2016-2017 NBA season, Embiid finally got the chance to play in an actual NBA game. In his NBA debut, in only 25 minutes, Embiid posted a stat line of 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 blocks. And this ultimately sparked everyone to take notice of Joel's game, to just know how dominant he really is. And after 31 games, and being restricted to only 25 minutes per game, Embiid was averaging 20.2 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks per game. Everyone was taking notice of Joel, and that he was emerging into a star in only his rookie season. But Embiid went down with another injury here, with a torn meniscus in his left knee, and underwent successful surgery and was ruled out for the remainder of the season. Joel Embiid is definitely one of the dominant centers in the league, and makes his team better by just being on the floor. But sadly, due to injuries, he's barely able to play. And hopefully by next season, he can have a great and long career. And throughout his entire life, Joel's been trusting the process. As from the age of 15, he barely even knew how to dribble a basketball properly, and now is an all-star caliber player if he can just stay healthy. Anyways, that was the story of Joel Embiid. I just hope by next season he doesn't end up with any more injuries again, because he's definitely one of the most entertaining players to watch. Anyways guys, remember to trust the process, and I'm Handles, and I'm out.